Welcome back to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community, everyone. I'm your host, Nico, and join with me today, as always, is my co-host, Chris.
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening? Here to talk about some comics, as always. Make sure you're subscribed, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up button. That like button. Hit the notification bell to be notified of when these videos do come out every week. Hit us up in the comments. Keep the conversation going. All that good stuff. And, spoiler warning, because we are going to be talking about the comic books here today that we read this week. And, I actually don't have art ready. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to kind of get the art ready for today. So we'll have to do without this week. But normally, if this is your first time tuning into the show, we normally also show some preview pages from the issues that we're talking about as well up on the screen, but we're going to do without today just because I didn't have enough time to prepare it in time, unfortunately. So we'll do without the art, but we do talk about some of the things that happen in these books sometimes. So be forewarned. We try to stay away from the big spoilers if we can. We're going to be talking about the new books that came out for the week of November 9th, 2022 this week. And also, just a couple of plugs for some other things we've been doing here recently on the Late Night Collectors community. If you go back in the feed, we just dropped a new episode of Cracking Packs with the chat this week, actually, with Chris and me opening up Upper Deck NHL hockey cards 2021, 2022 series 2 box. So that was a lot of fun, Chris. That just dropped this week. And if you guys are interested in that, go check that out. Cracking Packs with the Chat playlist is up on our YouTube channel here. And, also Comic Shop Talk, the past episode that came out this past week was our 50th episode. So that was really cool. And also, if you guys are into, other stuff, you could go check us out over on the Late Night Chat Network. Me and Chris had quite a few, to say the least. Maybe not, on this show we have like a beer or two if we're lucky, but that one, we knocked back quite a few on that episode. You can check
That's before we started.
That's right. You can check us out over in the Late Night Chat Network, our sister channel, kind of where this show originated and everything else. And basically over there, we did a show called Battle of the Bangers, where we kind of play playlists against one another in an effort to kind of beat the other one through votes of the live chat. Those episodes are always a lot of fun. You can check that out. That's a 2-parter episode. That's a really great one. If you want to see us have quite a few drinks and play some good music, that's a lot of fun. So check us out over there on Late Night Chat Network as well. Hey, Chris.
All right. So episode 51, let's talk comics.
That's right. Let's talk some comics here. All right, first up on the docket here today, Fantastic Four #1, new relaunch. Yeah, I got this cover here. You got the Alex Ross. I got the
Nice.
yeah. This is
That's Scott Campbell.
Scott Campbell. Yeah, this is Scott Campbell cover. So you both
Nice.
a lot of variants for this one, guys. A lot of variants dropped for this one. But yeah, new relaunch for Fantastic Four #1. Me and Chris read the previous Dan Slott run, and they've decided they now, after he left, they did the Axe Judgment tie-ins, and now they've relaunched it with a new writer and artist on this issue. What did you think of this, Chris?
Well, I think the A cover, I thought it's a great cover, and like I said, there's a lot of good covers. I thought the artwork inside, I'm down with that. It was pretty decent. But for a #1 relaunch, I thought the story was a bit so-so, let's say. I think the ending, there was a bit of a mystery there, but for a #1, come on, this belongs in like some Halloween anthology series or something. But I don't know if you want to give out the spoiler. There's some sort of crater at the end again that Fantastic Four was involved with, what they don't mention. And I'm just curious if that crater has something to do with Amazing Spider-Man's crater.
It's possible
Maybe there's gonna be some like crater crossover event. That they're just, that's why they're not, they're kind of not mentioning it in Spider-Man at all, and maybe this could be some overarching thing, but that's the only kind of thing that piqued my interest. Otherwise, the story was decent, but nothing special.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. This was not a #1 relaunch issue. And in a way, I kind of respect that, but at the same time, it had me scratching my head while reading it, because, this was like a weird sci-fi adventure, which is, very Fantastic Four, like a one-shot issue with Ben and Alicia. They're still together, which was nice to see. But yeah, it's kind of like it was like a Twilight Zone-esque type episode of a comic, this one. So it was weird for the #1 relaunch of a series, but it's like, it felt like, it didn't give you even the whole team in this issue. So to kind of have a Fantastic Four comic and this be the number one, it was kind of weird and out of place, I felt. But you're right, the ending was interesting. Reed specifically, it looks like has fucked up with maybe some sort of an experiment or something. Who knows what?
And, Johnny seems to be on the outs with them too. So
yeah,
there are some nuggets in there that are worth mining. But
yeah,
they could have started out with at least an issue with them all together and see why they separated.
I will say what kind of gave me some hope for the future of this book, although this has already been, I dropped the physical issues of this, like in our effort to kind of drop some titles even before this came out. So I think I maybe have the next 1 or 2 issues pre-ordered, but after that, depending on if it's good, those are good or not, I might continue reading online. But I did like this page at the end where the writer wrote like his kind of mission statement for what he wants the book to be. That gave me a lot of, I really liked what he said here. He said the Fantastic Four, he said that when he spoke to the editor, Tom Brevoort, about being the writer on this book, Ryan North, he said there's 4 things, and not, without going into the details of what he said number 1, the Fantastic Four are fun. Number 2, the Fantastic Four are adventurers. Number 3, the Fantastic Four can do anything. Number 4, the Fantastic Four are accessible. So I really kind of like what he said, like when he fleshed out each one of those things about making this like a fun, accessible book for new readers and old readers alike, and kind of like, like what he wrote about the Fantastic Four. I'm like, this guy kind of sounds like he gets what why the Fantastic Four are good. And some writers don't do a great job of that. So I'm like, it did pique my interest a little bit more to continue with it, what he wrote at the end here. Although this wasn't like my favorite start, I thought like, oh, that's interesting. It does sound like he has an idea for what he's going to do with these guys. So, that's, I don't know about, did you like that? Did you read that thing at the end?
I did read it, it was interesting, but like I said, Fantastic Four was on, like a slippery slope with me to begin with.
There.
And I don't know, I might read it still, but I don't think I'm buying any more issues until something, the storyline comes across something I might be down with.
I also think the first 4 issue, like the first arc, I think every issue is supposed to be telling a story.
Yeah, different story with a different crew, I guess.
Yeah, and Alex Ross, I think, is doing a cover variant for each one where it's just like it's that one member or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a slow start even to get around to what this Reed thing is. It looks like whatever this thing is at the end, right? You might get a little nibble every issue, right? Like, this is what's going on in the last page now, and then the next one.
Yeah, right? I'm not buying a whole comic for 1 page or 2 pages or a nugget.
Right. So, anyway, so what'd you give this then?
I'll give it a 3.5.
I mean, I'm going to give it less than you. I'm going to give it a 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just because, like you said, I think as a first issue, it failed in delivering like what I was expecting from a new direction for the book. On its own, I thought it was fine, but I felt quite bored by this story, and like I was really hoping that they would bring a lot more to this. But like I said, by the end of it, it did give me hope for the direction of the book. But we'll see. Like you said, it's gonna be a few issues probably until that even happens, whatever this book's gonna be, right? So I give it a 3. I actually didn't love the art as much either as
yeah.
I feel like. But anyways, okay. Next up, we got Dark Crisis number 6. One more issue to go of this event from DC Comics. What'd you think of this one, Chris?
Well, I thought there's some epic battles in here, and I was down for that. What else they got here? Yeah, the Return of Justice League was kind of lame, though.
Yeah,
the way they kind of came back and whatever, and the way they caught Pariah. I don't know if Pariah was trapped or he's caught in some sort of box or something with that antimatter cannon. Like, this just seems stuff out of like the freaking Justice League cartoon,
Yeah.
That was kind of lame. I did like the Superboy moment where, I think he was fighting Doomsday. And, he didn't have to beat him, but he just had to hang on for a few seconds. And then, when that killing blow almost comes in, pow, there's a savior. So I thought that was decent. But I am down with Deathstroke, though. I like the way they kind of portrayed him there, even after he seemed to recognize he got the screw job done. But he's like, hey, I signed a contract. I'm killing all these people because I said I would. And I'm thinking that has me looking forward to the next issue.
And, seeing the Deathstroke take on the whole team of heroes, like similar to like the Titans type situation that he's in the past, as well as like, the fact that he's been taken over by the darkness or whatever the hell this thing is in this. Yeah, that was an interesting end note for this issue for sure. And I'm with you though. I agree. There was a couple of good moments. Like I was going to mention the Superman one as well. And I mean, again, all the fucking time lately, a great Green Arrow moment. This guy's in every book he shows up, and it seems like writers get the character. They have him and Black Canary, the great relationship aspect of those characters, as well as like, you know, just the type of guy he is. Everybody seems to get this character, and like everyone just writes great scenes with them. Like you're right. Like it seems like he's just all over the place right now in terms of the DC books, right? Like everybody wants to use him, it seems like, in their books. So he's had some great moments. This was not, you know, this was no different, I felt like, in this one. But other than that, like the whole like Darkness and Pariah shit is fucking bunch of a baloney. Like I don't know what's going on with all that stuff. Like if it wasn't for those moments, you know, this 6 issues in, this event has taken a turn for me. Like it started so strong, I felt, and now it's just like usual event bullshit type stuff. Right? So,
yeah, like it should have been 6 issues. Wrap this stuff up.
Yeah,
you know, all the fun and interesting stuff is done. You know, now they got to do all the dumb stuff where they got to make everything. You know, same thing with the Judgment Day. You know, the beginning was sort of interesting, and then now, you know, they got to try and make everything fit or work.
Yeah,
it's kind of blah.
Yeah. So what'd you give this one then?
I'm gonna pop out another 3.5. You know, nothing special.
Same. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, next up, Avengers 62.
Avengers 62. I think this is the one before the Avengers Assemble.
Okay, good.
Alpha. So here we have I can always read his name, but I can never say it. Was Agamotto?
Oh yeah.
I have Agamotto. Is that how I say the name?
I have Agamotto. Yeah,
so not the actual Agamotto there. He's one of the 1 million BC Avengers, and he's trying to get the team back together to fight Mephisto. So basically the whole issue is just him rolling around trying to pick everybody up. You know, there's some fun play there when he has to go up with he has to go get Odin to come back because of all this, I guess, the soap opera story between Odin and Phoenix and how they're connected, or how he wanted to marry her. But she's gone anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. And then the final page, spoiler warning, ends up with the Avengers of now are in 1 million BC, and they all just get to meet. So I guess the troops are just gathering. I still guess you still need the Avengers Forever to come into play, because I guess that this Mephisto battle is coming up soon. So looking forward to that. And this is just a filler issue just to get everybody together.
Nice.
3.5, nothing special again.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Venom 13.
Venom 13.
Nice.
So it's been a wacky story here. You know, I got Eddie Brock. This one kind of focused more on Eddie Brock. He's still in the Garden of Eden, or the Garden of King and Blacks. And now it's revealed that all the King and Blacks are him, and he's arguing with them or something. And this whole time he thought he was trapped there. And then one of the King and Black, or one of the other Eddies or Venoms, whatever you want to call them, he kind of just lets it slip how he could escape. So he escapes here, and he ends up in limbo. And of course, now he's in limbo. This sets the stage for the dark web. So things are it's just a weird switching gears, you know, like all this kind of wacky stuff's going on. And then all of a sudden, hey, I could go the whole time. I never knew. And now he's in limbo. You know, he's kind of fighting some demons in limbo. And then the Goblin Queen is there, and she has some words to say. Goes, hey, you remind me of somebody else I know that I'm teaming up with. You don't get to see Chasm or whatever his name is there, but that's who they're referring to. And, you know, there's a nice splash page with the Goblin Queen at the end, just kind of revealing herself. So I guess it's good as a runner-up or a prequel to the Dark Web that's coming up. So that had me excited. But as an issue, this Venom is kind of just still wacky all over the place, you know. And anyways, 3.5.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of one of those weeks for me as well, for the most part. I wasn't, you know, and a little peek behind the curtain. I was kind of rushing to kind of get my books read this week, guys, and that's why I couldn't get the art done in time. Unfortunately, just happens sometimes. And I don't know if that's affected my reading experience, but like, this week is kind of a little bit of like 3.5 type week. It's a very, you know, middle of the line, I would say, in
Yeah.
terms of books this week. Just one of those weeks, I think, for the most part. But we'll see. There's some highlights for sure. Next up, you got the New Golden Age #1. This is a one-shot issue, kind of setting up everything Jeff Johns has been doing at DC. So much so that this has strands left over going into this from not only Doomsday Clock, but Flashpoint Beyond. And this is the new launch for the JSA book he's going to be writing. And like, I'm sure the Stargirl book, and he's brought back the Legion in this. This is convoluted as fuck. I did not like this issue all that much, man, just because it's I now I might drop the JSA book, because like by the end of this issue, this was kind of essentially a setup of the JSA book that I was really looking forward to. Jeff Johns, who's written the JSA, in like the 2000s, but that was a great run. I own all of it in omnibus form. I have all the hardcovers. It's a great fucking run of comics that he did back then. But this is him kind of returning to the JSA, but like the idea for the story that he has now is essentially like, it involves everything he's been doing lately, and it's just like, I'm just like, let it go, man. I want to like start on this team book, like get a different story going here. And I'll tell you, spoilers, but at the end of this issue, like the big takeaway that I got from this is kind of because they're kind of bouncing around from like the past, like from the JSA, like the 1940s or whatever, like whenever they first started, to the future, and then you kind of see like where they are in the future in terms of like the Legion of superheroes and everything else, and then they kind of go to like the 70s, and then they're like 13 years from now, and then like 13 years before, and then like they jump 13 years from now, like I guess in current time, in the 18 years I think it is, and we find out that Bruce did get married to Selena, and they have a daughter. But now he just got killed 18 years from now or whatever. And she's 18 years old. And he's been killed. And she goes somehow on the last page, she's with the JSA and saying like, my father was murdered. I guess they're the ones that came and alerted her that he got murdered. And then you see him just like dead in like, I don't know, like an alley, and cops like fucking like surrounding his body. And it says here, my name is Helena Wayne. I am the Batman's daughter. I am the Huntress. So I'm like, it's like whether my mom wants me to be or not. So like but there's like a page with the Doomsday Clock stuff. You see like Rorschach in one scene, and you see like, and I'm just like, and then you see those time traveling kids, the one with the Davy Crockett hat from the Flashpoint Beyond, in another scene. I'm like, I don't know what, like, listen, you're trying something here, I appreciate it, but like, I'm like, this is too much now. I'm like, just cut ties with those other stories. Like, you leave that story back there, or do another Flashpoint Beyond if you want to. Like, I don't know why that has to do with this one.
Yeah, everything doesn't have to be tied together.
Sometimes it works beautifully, though, don't get me wrong, or sometimes there's callbacks to things.
Yeah, well, callbacks is one thing, but like these are like, like conscious ways to try and, like, I imagine this guy has the freaking the Always Sunny in Philadelphia storyboard there with lines drawn everywhere to figure out, try and get this. Like even some of the stories I read before, where they're trying to bring in tying all the crises together and how they worked and how they're all. So what if they don't make sense? It's just the way it is.
I honestly feel at this point, like this is like, because Jeff Johns used to be one of their biggest creators in terms of like the direction of DC Comics, right? And I think that he's not in that position so much anymore these days, because he does a lot of things on the TV side of things and movies and everything else. So this is almost like he's like, listen, I'm still Jeff Johns, and I'm gonna fucking like write like the new direction of all these things and reintroduction of all these classic characters to the DC. It's too much. But I don't know him to be this type of writer. Like, I've read a lot of other stuff that he's done before, and I've really enjoyed it. I don't feel like, I don't know where he's going with this, and like now I'm not even really looking forward to JSA, because I'm like, what is going on in this book? And this is just a one shot. I'm like, this is supposed to be setting up the new direction, and I'm already sick of it. Like, I'm like, it's a convoluted mess. I don't know, man. I might just drop that now too. I'm not very much looking forward to that. Like, we'll see how the first issue is, but like,
maybe it's kind of getting the homework out of the way,
maybe.
Hopefully.
But the fact that the last two things he's written is referenced in here and part of the story is I'm not hopeful at this point in time. And I like Doomsday Clock. Flashpoint Beyond had its moments. We enjoyed it.
Yeah.
most
But
part.
then it fell apart once he tried jamming everything in there again.
Right. So like, and like again, like I don't mind when writers do like a long form story. Like Hickman was like that, like a writer like that. Like sometimes it works, but this is not like working for me like at this time. So I don't know, man. I may not. Anyways, I give this like I feel like I should give it less because I'm like really hating on this right now. Like 2.75. Like the art was fine in it. Yeah, like I don't like going below 3 territory unless I really hated it, but you can tell like this annoyed me. Like I'm just like, what is this? Like I'm like, I was really looking forward to this because I felt like this was the reason I bought this. Said it's a setup for the new JSA book. I'm like, okay, I'll grab this. Why not? Yeah, I'm just confused now. Like, yeah, it's cool. Like we're going to the future with Batman's daughter, but I don't want to learn about the GSA in the future, like and Batman's future. I'm like, that's not what I signed up for. Like, right? So, anyways, yeah. So there you go. There you have it. Sorry if I went on too long on that one. That kind of annoyed me a little. Okay, number 2. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. The first issue was good. This is Wes Craig writing and drawing like his first series, like, well, I guess his first ongoing series. I think he did like a mini series or something for Image before. But he may have just wrote that, not drew it. So, anyways, he's been the artist on a Deadly Class for like the last several years, 7-8 years that they've done that book, and I'm a big fan of his art. So I was like, take a flyer on this one. I felt like, if he's going to go off and do his own thing now, writing and drawing like a fantasy story, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll check it out. This is good. Like it's like it's about a brother and sister, as I mentioned about the first issue, that like left their tribe and their people. Like I guess they're basically got wiped out, and they kind of became like these kids just wandering around trying to make their way through this wasteland of a world. And they come, and then the last issue, they came across these like lizard people that she knows one of them, and she's now like part of like their kind of group, like these lizard men type, and like they're they have like a king and a queen, these lizard people, and they have like a whole, I guess, like a civilization of lizard people and everything else, and she's just living with them, and the one has a crush on her, and another one part of the lizard men tribe, like they're going out and they're hunting in this, and she's the one that they do a bet because they don't really get along, these two. And he's like, oh, if I bag the first to kill as we're hunting, you owe me whatever. And she ends up winning the bet. And then he's like all sulking. He's like, well, the rest of the tribe thinks I'm weak because I haven't been able to catch anything lately. Can you kind of give me the kill? And, so I can get the bragging right. She's like, that's fine. But listen, you're not, you don't treat me with disrespect anymore and this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like, cause like, he's just like thinks that she's less than because she's a human. So yeah, so just, it's really interesting so far, really kind of rich, interesting world and character building and all this kind of stuff with great art. I really enjoyed it so far. So I gave it a 4. I thought it was a solid issue, and actually a surprise because I was worried about this. Sometimes just because you like an artist on a series, when they go off and do their own thing doesn't mean it's going to be a success. But so far I'm enjoying this. So yeah. All right, next up we got Axe Judgment Day Omega #1, the I guess end cap to the Judgment Day event. What do you think of this one?
Not much, unfortunately.
Me neither.
The more I think about it, it wasn't as bad as I think, but enough with the return of the Eternals. Like,
that's all right.
I don't even understand what they're talking. Like, are they a church or what are they trying to be up there? It's their god, this machine called Earth. I think, when I was just thinking about it while you're talking there, it's kind of interesting how they have these Eternals come back and, apologize to the humans, whoever they took. And I know what's going on with that one guy that's living with some lady in her basement or something. But just the rest of it, just crap. It shouldn't have been Judgment Day Omega. It should have been just Judgment Day Eternals, and I wouldn't have bought it. But yeah, I know it didn't really reveal anything cataclysmic at the end or clear anything up, really.
I think this is because Kieran Gillen, writer of this, I think is also still writing Eternals. I think this is just to help out the Eternal series. If anything, like you said, this was, and that's what I mean. It may not be no fault of its own. I think it's just be me and you not really loving the Eternals and kind of thinking like, I thought this was boring again. You know what I mean? Like, but there's a couple of interesting things that happened in this issue. I will say, I'll highlight a couple of things. I thought the whole thing about Krakoa being, because they're like the ancient civilization, like the first, living mutant.
Yeah, the first mutant and whatever.
Yeah, that's like land-based or whatever. Apparently, when the Eternals landed, all these years ago and set everything in motion, like, you know, the gods, like they basically used him as a template or something to.
Yeah, I think that's just garbage.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I mean, and Ajax is the person of the Eternals at the end of the last issue of Judgment Day, at the end of the event, where she's now become the god of the Eternals, essentially. So in this, she kind of let the Eternals always had those like 3 things about the deviants and do this and do that, like their mission statement. In this, she kind of rolls out a new mission statement for the Eternals, because they now have to get into the favor of the humans, because everyone fucking hates the Eternals right now, right? So like, I think it's an interesting direction. Again, if you're into the Eternals or you're reading the Eternals story, that's cool. And then they also kind of touch on that other thing about that guy that destroys everything is going to help out X-Men Red, the Iraqi people or something, essentially, in this book. But other than that, yeah, it was kind of boring, and I don't love the Eternals, so I didn't love it. So yeah, what'd you give this one?
I'll just give it a 3.
Same. Yeah.
Didn't like it.
Yeah, but you know, a couple of story threads I think that will make its way into the X-Men books, which I think were more.
Yeah, those could have easily been put into an X-Men story. Or the next time, you know, that this storyline needed to come up, they could have revisited with one of those. But
yeah,
otherwise, like, what's that big hex thing? Want to freaking read a poem or something about that? That was crazy.
That's right. Yeah. Next up, Batman versus Robin 3. Yeah, so this one kind of started out a little weak for me. I thought this was a little weaker than the first 2 issues, but then by the end, I came right around. I really liked the direction this went to. The things I didn't like that I've always felt was the most boring part about this story was just a lot of like the fighting between the Robins and Batman. Like there was a lot of like in this, they like now that Damian, who's possessed, I guess, by Devil Neza guy, now has all the Robins, and all the Robins go and attack Batman, and he has to systematically take each one of them down. And
yeah.
I like some of his inner thought, but this is not new. We've seen this happen before. Like he's been against the Bat family outs with the Robins and everything else in the past. So it's not new in that sense, and I like that, like they made him win because he is fucking Batman. If he's getting taken out by these guys, then there's no they shouldn't be looking up to him. Right. So like, I liked that part of it. At least he didn't just like unsuspectedly get taken out, and he had to work his way up to Chris's favorite character, Nightwing, because he is the biggest threat out of everybody, because he was Batman at one point, like when he was supposedly dead years ago. So you know, shout out to Nightwing. but I really liked how it ended. It kind of had like a little twist where he did reveal the fact that he knew that was not Alfred this whole time, but then he had to die in his arms again by the end of this issue because of the fact that he got stabbed and taken out, and there was a bit of his soul like actually left in his body that Devil Neza had to use to possess him or something. And like, he's just like, oh my God, like I gotta go through this again. He's just like, you're actually in here? Like, he's like, I fucking killed you, right? And so that was kind of fucked up. I thought that was pretty dark and like horrible for him to go through again. And I also liked there was some weird pig character or something in this that like I guess knew Devil Neza from back in the day, but I like how he kind of he was trying to help.
Yeah, they're trying to bring in Monkey Prince or something into the Monkey Prince is entering the chat, as they like to say. I don't know about that.
But I liked how he was trying to get Damian like to snap out of it. Like he was kind of on their side because he was a prisoner, and he was trying to let him know that Devil Neza actually used to be a good guy. Like I did like learning a little bit about his past and how he kind of got to this point. And they're stealing all the magic powers. The reason they've been stealing all the magic powers is they're putting it in fucking Dr. Fate's helmet, which is really kind of cool. Like I thought that was neat. So there was some good things as it kind of kept going, where I'm just like, I could leave half of this shit to the side and I'm not really interested in this, but there's still a lot of interesting things going on here for me that I'm enjoying the book. And I think the art's always been really great. So yeah.
Yeah. Like I didn't mind the battles with Batman versus all the Robins, but just all that, bubble thinking or whatever, where, you know, like all the sad songs they all sung to Batman as he was beating them, like, you didn't love me, or why did you follow me? It's like, fuck enough already.
Right.
And the one thing I did like was, you know, when Batman started to kind of feel guilty about it, then he remembered that, you know, I don't know, whatever cloak of sadness weaponizes your own fear and guilt. And, you know, he snapped out of that. He kind of realized what was going on.
Yeah, I know it was the sword of that fire sword that
Nightwing, sword of sins or something. Yeah.
Azrael's sword, and that's what it does. So, and you know, Azrael's in the Bat family too, right?
Yeah, because you think it's getting to him. He goes, "Oh, maybe I am wrong," and then, "No, fuck that shit. I'm right. I know what I'm right."
Kicks him out in no time. He's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah,
I
I
did.
thought that was okay.
I'm just happy he didn't get his ass whooped by these guys. I'm like, because
Oh yeah, no way.
I'd be like, "Fuck this." I'm like, no, you take them to town, man. Despite you feeling guilt, because yes, there's many reasons why you should feel guilty about like things you've done with these people, but like, get over yourself. He's still taking them out one at a time. The best was Tim Drake. There, I did like the monologue with Tim Drake because where he's like, Tim Drake, unfortunately, he's really good at being a detective, but not so much a fighter, and he knocks him out. I was like, yeah, all right, good. I like how they distinguish that like fact. They're like, yeah, he's great and all, but no, I'm sorry, you're not going toe to toe with me. So, what'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 3.75. I like to just if it was this on its own, it'd probably be a 3.5, a decent comic. But since we had some other stinkers that were 3.5, I got to give this a bit of a bump.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 for that reason. Like, I didn't love everything going on in this. Like, certain parts of the whole, I was like, yeah, but I did the things I did like. I liked a lot. Like, so it's like what's going on in the fucking Punisher book right now. Like half of it, I'm like, nah, I'm good. The other half, I'm like, oh, this stuff's good. You're like, don't even... All right, buddy.
That could be a 4-issue miniseries, and that was it.
Next up, we got Wildcats #1, Chris. Let's see that cover.
Basically, I just bought this because we got an Artgerm cover here. Maybe I'll take it out of the
take a look at that. So
the bag here.
That's a nice one. Yeah. What character is that again?
I forget what her name is. Freaking the Zealot or something.
Yeah, that's awesome looking.
Yeah, so basically a lot of this is just sort of introducing the characters here. And I guess this is the first time I'm seeing them interact kind of in the DC world. I think I might have had Wildcats #1 from back in the Image days. And I probably only just bought the first issue as well. So here I think they go into some science facility. They're trying to, I don't want to say rescue a scientist. They're trying to basically abduct a scientist. And then for whatever reason, he pisses off Grifter, and Grifter just shoots him. And then they kind of scram out of there. And then once they're all gone, then freaking Nightwing and his crew kind of drop in and go, "Oh, we're here to rescue. Where's everybody? What's going on here?" And then, so that's kind of how they interact. Like, there's no real interaction with them. But I do think at the end, Green Arrow shows up too.
Of course.
I think that guy's everywhere. I got to double check that. We're just talking about it. Yeah, there it is. So they're on their other mission. Like, I don't know if these missions are good or bad. They're trying to steal scientists for, I don't know, some reason I forget. But yeah, Green Arrow shows up. He does his thing. And I don't know, they fall through a hole in the ground and there's more bad people around. So, like, I'm not even sure if these guys have superpowers, like this Grifter guy and this Zealot, if they're just kind of, just fighters, let's say.
I think they're more like mercenaries, if any. Yeah. Like, I love Grifter though. Grifter actually,
Grifter's a great character there.
I love Grifter.
He's kind of like a Deadpool, but not so kind of not so corny or not so funny. Just more of a whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it wasn't a bad issue, but I don't think I'll be following this through. It wasn't enough to grab me in there. But like I say, it was a decent cover. Maybe I'll pop by in there and just see what's going on in that world every once in a while. So I hate to say it again, but not good, not bad. 3.5.
Yeah, no, it's all right, man. It is what it is. And next up, we got Dua Powerbomb #6, the penultimate issue. This is one more issue to go in the 7-issue miniseries. I mean, I'm a broken record at this point with this book. I just love this book. I think it's a great book. I love the artist. I really have enjoyed the story. I think in this issue, at the end of the last one, they ended up losing the father-daughter team, which was revealed finally at the end of that issue that he was her father. Like, she never actually knew that she was wrestling with her father up to that point. And then his mask, I guess, got pulled off or ripped off, and she saw it was her father. And then as a result, maybe threw her off, and then she ended up losing the match. And basically the fact that they lost in the finals meant that they couldn't resurrect their mother the necromancer wouldn't be able to grant like his wish of like doing that. The whole reason they're basically fighting in this wrestling tournament, right? And but then the team that ended up winning were at each other's throats because they both wanted separate requests from the necromancer for who to resurrect. So they really got at each other's throats. By the end of the last issue, you see them about to fight each other. And in this issue, they end up killing both of each other. Like basically the one chick throws the dude down, or he gets taken. He ends up getting taken out by maybe one of the tag team that they lost to or something, and she took a belt and she smashed his fucking head with it, like to like it's just gushing blood. And while she was doing that, he took barbed wire and wrapped it around her neck and started yanking as he was dying and getting his head bashed in with the belt. So they both ended up killing each other. So then these two are sulking in the change room, and the necromancer busts in there and he's like, "What?" He's like, "I need you guys out there now. We need to award a belt, or else there's gonna be no interest in this tournament next year." Blah 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 blah. Right? And he's just like, "These guys are both dead." They're like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, you guys won. You won. So get out of here." So he awards them the belt. They win as a result of the default, as a result of the other team killing one another at the end. And then he turns around, and when they're about to, they go into his lair or whatever, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm about to, I'm gonna grant you your wish. We're gonna resurrect your mother." And then he turns around and he's like, "Well, actually, unfortunately, I hate to say it, because you know I used to be this all-powerful necromancer back in the day, as I've told you guys, and unfortunately, I don't have enough juice right now to kind of like actually follow through with this request. Apparently, like he's like, I really tried, and I can't put together enough magic or whatever, like to kind of get this done at this moment." He's like, "I'm still powerful, but the necromancy, not so much, right?" and then they rightly so, the father gets pissed off and grabs them, and then like he has to he gets like really large and like menacing, and he's like, "Listen, like I still got power, so like don't fucking try to do that." And he's like, "But I'm looking out for you guys. He's like, I do want to grant you this wish." He's just like, "Unfortunately, like it just caught me at a bad time," right? He's like, "And I want to be able to get this tournament off the ground so we can keep doing these, right?" And he's like, "But listen, I got a resolution for you." And he's like, "Let's take a visit, up to the man up top." Then all of a sudden they get elevated and they're in heaven, and fucking they're gonna fight God. And then God's sitting there, and Jesus Christ is literally the referee, and they're up in heaven, and he's in a fucking he's like in a wrestling outfit. It was such a weird turn at the end of the story. I like, okay, this book's ridiculous and I love it. Yeah. They're gonna
I
wrestle.
wish I read it now. Like every time you talk about it, it all sounds good.
Yeah, maybe it's just me hyping it up way too much, but the way it ended with like God, like I wish I had the art up for this issue, like to show you guys. I'll probably have to make it like the picture of the episode or something. But yeah, here, I'll try to show you here. So come on, man. Like the fact that you're sitting there and like Jesus Christ is like the referee, and everyone's like, God, God, God. They gotta wrestle God in order. He's like, "Oh, I've been watching the tournament." He's like telling them,
He's a fan.
"Yeah, I'm a fan." He's like, "I loved every moment of it. Like, if you beat me, then I'll bring your mother back to life." And it's like, this is crazy. So yeah, that's gonna be the last issue.
So like the last issue, they fight God.
They
Nice.
fight God. Yeah, I did not see it going there. Like, I get it. Like, there was a necromancer, and I guess there's hell aspects of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know they literally are going to do like a heaven versus hell type of wrestling match of some sort. That's crazy, man. I loved it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I gave it a 4.5. I don't think I've given any issue lower than that, to be honest. But it's just, between the art and the story and the fact that was such a great twist at the end. If they actually had more wrestling in this issue, I probably would have given it a 5. But there wasn't much wrestling because they had to like actually
work the story out.
There was a cool flashback scene though about how he met her mother originally as he was wrestling, and he does a shooting star press from the balcony that turns into a DDT, which was pretty fucking awesome because those are actual moves, right? Like, so that the actual fact that the artist depicted all these moves like in the art, I was like, okay, you could tell he's a fan of wrestling because he was actually drawing these things, right? And I'm like, yeah, it looked great. So yeah. All right, next up, Spider-Man number 2. Got this cover here.
Yeah, I shouldn't get a physical copy once again. I don't know. I guess I forgot to put in my order
I think
back
you're.
in uh back a few months ago or whatever.
I think it'll be all right on this one. What do you think of this?
I know I'm just a Spider-Man fan, but I think this series is starting to grow on me a bit. It's I'm kind of liking this sort of this less serious vibe to it. Despite it being like some sort of cataclysmic world-ending story. I expect it to be gritty and all. Maybe I'm just tired of all these freaking like Judgment Days and whatever, the Dark Crisis. Get back to some regular just comic. Like this seems like a comic book sort of comic, and I didn't mind it. Still not great, but I like the story now that there's only like a bunch of few of the Spider people left against every other Spider. When they kind of that last page where you just see what there's like 5 or 6 spiders left over, and they're fighting the rest of the Spider Verse. It might be fun to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I mean, despite me saying that, I think this issue was better than the first issue. I'll give you that. Like, I didn't love it, but I think it was decent, and it did make me second guess because I did drop this issue in physical form in my January, like our next pre-order kind of month, and now I'm like, maybe I want to keep it because I do love Spider-Man, and I'm like, maybe I'll keep the physical issues of this going. I'm not sure, but the intro was the most interesting thing about this issue, though. It seems that they set up a timeline where it's the movie Spider-Man at the start of this. Did you catch on to that? Because like, what was that?
I'd have to look that over again, but I didn't really.
So the intro of this issue has him flying through the air, but he gets on the phone with Mr. Stark. He sounds like a young.
Oh yeah.
And and then he even references other things from the film. Like he talks about like what does he say? Like
yeah, he sounds like the young Peter, the Peter Tingle,
Peter
but then
Tingle.
it just drops,
Yeah,
and then it goes back into the real story.
Right.
Maybe I didn't know that. That might be a nice little egg there.
That's the thing that you just the Peter Tingle. That's what I couldn't remember. So he mentions that. Like I was reading the dialogue. I'm like, this is the fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, I read that. That dialogue kind of pissed me off. What are they doing putting this in here? But now that you put in this light,
right? So
that is interesting.
Which is interesting because they've never actually introduced this Spider-Verse character into the Spider-Verse yet. But now he seems like referencing the film version as him.
Like Tom Holland can basically fly into this series, maybe.
That isn't
even Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
I mean, that's not even Ultimate Spider-Man Peter Parker, this one, because that's like dead, and Miles is the new Ultimate Spider-Man now in the 616. So like that wouldn't even be him. This is the movie version, right?
It's MCU Spider-Man's coming in. Could be.
So for that reason alone, I was like, that's interesting. I was like, I like that. And then because it cuts from that scene, Chris, he meets up with a bunch of like the spiders. Like there's a Spider-Man ham that's mutated, like the guys we see at the end. And then it cuts that scene, and then the next page is a double page spread with Peter and all the like his current.
Yeah, like that story just ended, or that storyline just ended.
Right?
True.
That's pretty cool. That is
interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that kind of
reason to buy this issue.
But the rest of it was just okay to me. That's why I'm just like, I don't feel you missed out on much, but like there is some interesting things going on here though that might keep me around. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
So I did check my solicitation to have Spider-Man 3 coming, but
so do I. But I don't have, I think 4 is January or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't put in my January yet, so that could be on the block.
It might be, but I like Spider-Man, so it's hard, right? It's hard to drop a book. Not that I need to read all the Spider-Man books, but this might turn around. Like I was like, that's an interesting thing like that he got going for it. And like, I don't know. I hope this isn't the basis of this whole series. Like if this is just the first arc.
Yeah, I hope it's just an arc. Definitely.
Right. Because I can get on board if that's the case. If this is a first arc with the Spider-Verse stuff, and then they're going to branch out, maybe do some other things as a nice aside to the Amazing Spider-Man series, then I can get behind that. Right. So yeah, we'll see. So what'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75. I liked it more than what I had there.
Same. 3.75. Yeah. All right. And then lastly, we got Amazing Spider-Man number 13, guys. I got this, the Extreme 90s variant.
Oh, nice.
Check this out by Stegman. Yeah. Very cool. Like a 2099 vibe almost to it. He's got like the spikes and the
Chains and guns. Pouches.
All right. So what'd you think of this?
I know, just reading this, man, Spider-Man gets his ass beaten in this run a lot. Like a lot. Like everybody that he's faced is beating the freaking crap out of him
Mm-hmm.
so far. Like he gets his ass handed to him here again. And then I guess, well, spoiler alert, the Gold Goblin shows up.
Yeah.
But otherwise, some good things in there. I don't know if you want to spoil the Goblin Queen or the Queen Goblin is back. So
yeah,
I thought that was a nice page. I thought that was a nice panel there when she popped out from the back. I get a bit of the mysteries of the Hobgoblin revealed, I guess, and some more kind of questions raised as they put out the answer. So that wasn't too bad. I liked it.
Well, like you said, I mean, the other one just showed up in the end of Venom. Like they're setting up this whole dark web kind of thing that's going on.
Yeah.
The goblins kind of spinning out of that as well. And then on the X-Men side of things, you got Madeline Pryor showing up in things, right? So like they are actually, I think as a company, like they're actually crossing over their good books. Not bad right now in terms of like setting up these events.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like that's kind of cool. If you're reading all these things and you start to see this happening, it kind of, it makes it feel like a shared universe. Like, and that's why Marvel's always been kind of good in that sense, usually about these type of things. And I think that shows here because like you just said, you mentioned the Venom book, like her showing up, who showed up in the Venom. Yeah, it was her, right?
Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen.
There you go.
And this is the Queen Goblin here.
Right.
And I guess she's got I don't know if this has so much to do with the dark web, but she's out there trying to
that's
trying to torture Gold Goblin, or at least Norman Osborn.
No, but that's the whole thing with the dark web. Madeline Pryor and her are working together, right? That's why the X-Men are involved in it as well.
No, it's Madeline Pryor and Chasm.
Oh, and Chasm, that's right. They're working.
Ben Riley.
That's right. But
I think she's going to be in it, but I don't think she's like a main player, let's say.
Yeah, I'm sure the Goblin person's going to be in it too then, if that's the case. Like, I would think, maybe. I don't know. So, yeah, you're right. I forgot about it's her and Chasm. Yeah, that's the connecting thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which it looks like I think that's going to be next issue or something is going to be him, right?
Yeah, I think it starts all in December, so
he's on the cover for the next
coming up soon, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like this a lot. Like you said, I love when they were slicing up his back to shit. I was just like, wow, this guy's getting he's getting his ass beat here. And I
almost thought one thing, I thought he almost died there for a second because it looked like something came out of his chest, but I guess his fist was punching in.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, how can he survive a freaking, I don't know, like a sword or whatever? Like looked like a big steak was coming out of his chest in one of the panels. I had to freaking go look, double take it. Goes, is he dead here? What's going on?
Yeah, no, I know. He got roughed up. So what'd you give this then?
I'll give it a 4 just because it's been a bad week, but I don't know if it deserves a 4.
I was going between 3.75 and 4, but again, this is a book I have a hard time not giving a 4 because I am really enjoying Spider-Man right now, the Amazing Spider-Man title. So yeah, I'll give it a 4. I did like it. I just gave 3.75 to Spider-Man. I liked it better than Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna give it
definitely.
Yeah. So, all right, we're just about to. That's all for the books that we're going to talk about this week. That came out this week that we want to talk about. I did want to kind of give a quick little tease to this book that I just picked up, New York Ninja. I think I may have gotten this early somehow through our distributor because it's got different release dates. So I might be talking about it next week or the week after. Because I didn't have time to read it. But this is kind of interesting. I didn't want to highlight this. This is like by what's his name? Charles Foreman. He's like an indie creator. Yeah, Charles Foreman. It was written, drawn, colored, and lettered by him. So he did everything in this. And this is supposed to be the official comic book sequel to this movie called New York Ninja. And the reason I picked it up is because it just looked like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle kind of ripoff of some sort by an indie creator. So I'm like, that's kind of cool. I love ninjas. So I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. And it's even got like the magazine size kind of issue like the Ninja Turtles and everything else. So I'm sure that's what he's going for here. But apparently this is based on a movie that came out in 2021. I guess it's like an indie film. And apparently this was originally shot in 1984 and not finished until 2021. So this is some weird, like under the radar, like indie film that they kind of put out. It's about a New York ninja. It's about a sound technician for a news station who becomes a vigilante ninja in New York City after his pregnant wife is murdered. So I'm just like,
it's a 1984 storyline. Maybe see how it plays out.
Right. So I'm like, this might be a lot of fun. So I seen this in the solicits in the magazine, the previews magazine. And I'm like, that's like looks interesting. All right, I'll pick it up. And yeah, so it looks very cool. I was looking through it. So stay tuned for me talking about this on a future episode. That's kind of why I wanted to show that off here. I just feel like I almost now want to watch the movie and then watch this because this is supposed to be a sequel to the film. So I might do that.
Right.
We'll see if I can actually
We'll
track.
find the movie.
Yeah, we'll track this thing down. Yeah, exactly. All right,
Well,
Chris.
if you like ninjas, I think I saw a solicitation cover for maybe February or March for Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay.
And it's him and Black Cat standing over a pile of ninjas, beating the crap out of them.
I do like that. Yeah.
I don't know how they fit in, but I didn't read anything, but I just saw the cover. I thought that was nice.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, well, if you like ninjas, you should watch Three Ninjas.
If you want to see best the ninjas of the 80s movies with the best of the best or something, there's American Ninja.
Right.
These are all crappy movies. Holy smokes.
This is what I think this is, though. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I think that's basically what this is, one of those. Like, it probably was an abandoned project that someone just like, or that's just what they're trying to capture. Maybe it never.
Yeah, or maybe it's an abandoned project now. He's got money to finish it off, and he's 40 years later or whatever.
No, but that might actually just be what they're trying to say is like this was a movie from back then and it is a new film.
Oh,
maybe because I just was reading it off IMDb. Maybe that's the gimmick. Maybe it's like, you know what I mean? I would like to see and read into it a little bit more. I just thought the comic looked cool in the previews, but then when I opened it up and I started reading that, I'm like, oh, this is I'm like, so I had to Google it. I'm like, this is actually based on an actual movie. I'm like, that's so weird, right? Yeah. So I was like, all right. I thought it was a ripoff of Ninja Turtles at first, which it kind of is, but then it looks also like it's its own thing, right? So, anyways, so what are you picking up next week, Chris?
Hey, it's another small week, I think.
Yeah.
They got Iron Man 25, World's Finest 9, Deceased 4, She-Hulk 8. I want to get it, but I don't think I put it in my solicitations when I was looking over what my December orders were.
Okay.
We got Catwoman 49, well, DC versus Vampires All Out War 5, and Nightwing 98. And that's it.
Yeah, I got no, wait, no.
Like I got maybe 2 Marvel comics, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I have a moderate sized week again. It looks like I got Batman One Bad Day, Mr. Freeze #1, Batman Superman World's Finest. I got I don't think I'm picking up the physical copy, but I'm gonna read DC versus Vampires All Out War #5, Deceased War of the Undead Gods #4, Nightwing 98, Bone Orchard Black Feathers #3, I Hate Fairyland #1.
That's supposed to be good.
Yeah, well, I read the original series. Like, this is like the
You
second.
get a variant cover for that? There's supposed to be a lot of crazy covers for that one, too.
Yeah, I got the one that says "Fuck Fairyland" on it, so that's pretty cool. Immortal X-Men #8 and Shaolin Cowboy Cruel to Be Kin #7. So yeah, I got like 8 or 9 here. 9, it looks like. Yeah, I got a moderate size week as well. Wait, DC versus Vampires comes out?
No, just the All Out War.
All Out War. Okay, sorry, I misheard what you said. Yeah, I am gonna read All Out War. So yeah, I got like 9 issues here. Yeah, so yeah, not a bad week again. So
You got no Marvel in there, do you?
I have Immortal X-Men. I think
Mortal X-Men.
that's it.
One from Marvel. That's pretty slow.
That is, yeah, because usually I usually go more on Marvel than anything, right? So yeah. All right, well there you have it, guys. That'll be what we're looking forward to picking up next week. What was your favorite book of the week this week, Chris?
It's been a tough week, but
it has been.
I'll have to throw up Spider-Man 13.
Again, I hate to do it once again, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I had to do a power bomb. I mean,
from what you said, I want to say do a power bomb. I wish I read it.
Yeah, like there wasn't much competition this week, to be honest. It was like if that didn't come out this week, it would be really hard for me to pick one because I feel like there was no major standouts. So I probably would have maybe picked Spider-Man 2 just because I like Spider-Man, but this could have been a dark horse pick if I read this week, but you'll have to wait on that one. But do a power bomb #6. I think when we give our awards out at the end of the year, that's probably going to be my most picked favorite of the week. I think, honestly, I think almost every issue that's come out, I've given favorite of the week to. It's been very good. Like, I think it's a great series so far. So yeah, there you have it. All right, that's gonna do it for this week, guys. We'll see you guys next week. As always, make sure to subscribe, like the video and all that good stuff as always. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Cheers, everybody.
Later.